Captain's Log, Stardate 7410.3. I have been waiting for word about the additions to the Saxon. One of the additions is slated to be pre-programmed Halo novel type editions, which is going to be interesting to say the least. One of them claims that it has the total circumference of the Earth covered, all detail, buildings. Depending on the year that you would wish to operate in the simulation, you will have real-world weather events and real-world terrain. It's going to be really fun to try. Other than that, we're also waiting on our next cargo mission. And also, word is possibly in about the Lexington. And also, some of the information is coming in from our intelligence people about the pirates that were looking for this errant or missing satellite. End of Captain's Level 4 log. Ensign Carey, you have the bridge. Aye, Captain. Using my communicator, I said, all command staff, meet me in the captain's lounge. Out. I entered the captain's lounge and found a place to sit while I waited. Okay, we have Fowler, Hatfield, and Green. Where's everyone else? Captain, said Commander Fowler. Captain, I think maybe when you put the transmission out that you only called the bridge crew, the head people were on the bridge. Maybe, yeah, number one, stand by. I used my communicator. This is going to the heads of Dr. Nolan and Mr. Strawn, engineering. I need you to make your way to the captain's lounge, along with also Mr. Boone for security. See me here in the captain's lounge. Over. Captain Steinway out. I think I should have taken more time off. What do you think, people? There were a few grins. Nobody said anything. So while we waited, I looked out the window and noted the large claw-like arms going around over the ship as we waited in the space dock. Before too long, the doctor and head of engineering and Mr. Boone came in the room and took their seats with everyone else. Okay, everyone, let's get this thing underway. Basically what this is about is giving everyone a heads up. Maybe you've noted the presence of military forces. They like to be called Space Marines because, it's like history is pretty strong with them. Well, just like it is with us too. So, yeah. So note the presence of the new people on board. They're going to be staying. They're going to have a fast action type ships and apparatus shuttlecraft in one of the cargo bays. So I'll leave it with the appropriate staff to deal with that. Commander Green in Ops, I think he can take care of that. And so basically, we're just going to be acting as a transport. And what this has to do is they're a task force that we're trying to catch these pirates. If you are not familiar with the satellite that we encountered, it was not energized at the time, but it has a nuclear payload, and it's no longer on board. So, but we're trying to catch these guys We don't know if they just have the one ship or if they're operating with several other ships. And that's what this is about. We're going to be going to the lunar bases around Earth's moon. So basically, like I said, I just want everyone to know, be on the same page. So if there are no questions, doesn't look like there are any. Let me know if you think of any. If not, everybody's dismissed. Let's go to our posts. I waited for everyone to file out, and then I followed the last person, which was happened to be Commander Fowler, back onto the bridge. Commander Green, set course for Lunar 3 at Sublight 4. Roger, Captain. Sublight 4. Take us out easy, Commander. Don't want to bump into anything leaving space dock. Don't worry, Captain, said Tabitha Green. By the way, Tabitha, since when have you used Roger? Have you been talking to some of the personnel on board? Yeah, maybe I have. I guess that's what it is. It kind of rubs off on you. Well, hey, keep it Navy. Aye, aye, sir. There you go. That's better. I monitored as we left the space dock slowly. On course for Lunar 3, Captain. Commander Green, you have the bridge. Me and number 1 is going to talk to some of these ground forces, or like they like to be called, the Space Marines. Let's go, number 1. Ready when you are, sir, said Fowler. We both walked toward the turbo lift and started making our way to wherever these Space Marines were located. The Space Marine answered, "Hello. Hi. I'm Captain Steinway. And you are?" As the name tape says, Trot. My name is, I'm Captain Gary Trot. And I looked, and indeed there were 2 stripes, or 2 bars, indicating a captain. Very well. Okay. So I'm captain of this ship, and you are captain of your crew. So I just wanted to touch base with you a little bit and say welcome to the ship, and you have you're going to be treated as a guest, and of course, once you get on the communicators, then we'll be able to call you out if there's any contact with those pirates out there. Roger that, sir, said the Space Marine. Is there anything else, sir? No. We'll dismissed, I said. So me and Fowler turned and departed. There was no reason to go to the other rooms. So as we was walking down the corridor, I asked the commander again, so the computer records everything, but I suppose it's on that loop system thing, and it's kind of like the black box on most of the shuttlecraft. Correct, sir? So what are you getting at, Captain? Well, hear me out. So let's say we're making a hollow novel, and we want to make it realistic. However, in a novel or any program system, you can't record everything. So like in a 24-hour period, you would have to actually be there and stay there 24 hours a day. And yeah. And of course, you're talking about Earth hours. Oh, yeah, correct. So, yeah, and I figured it out metrically too. So every quarter of an hour equals about 10, what are they called? Centis somethings. So every, like, you get to the first quarter, which we know is Earth 15. That's actually 10 in metric. And on the half hour, that would be equated to, I believe, 10, be 20. I get it mixed up in my head. Never mind. Well, let's go. Okay, we reached the turbo lift and we continued our way to the bridge and came on board the bridge. I went and I took a look at the view screen and was satisfied with everything, and no one said anything else, so I went to my office. Captain's log, stardate 7410.6. I am about to leave the bridge and go off on my ship as we're on our way to Lunar 3. Last thing I saw on the view screen is we're about 90 in energy, and we're still at speed level 5, going to be switching to retrograde at some point here. Nothing on the target scanners. We're still slated to be at Lunar 3 at approximately stardate 7410, or correction, stardate 7411.2. I will hopefully be awake by then. That's a good idea, so that I can be on the bridge. Maybe number 1 will be there with me. Who knows? And probably need to, well, I'll figure it out when I get there. No need to plan ahead on that. We'll just play it by ear. End of level 4 Captain's log. It is deci days, milli days, and micro days, said Felix the android to someone at a table. As I walked past him and toward the bar, I recognized the other person. That's Ensign Carey. Okay. Stopped at the bar and listened. So if it is 600 at the end of our shift, that is 6 deci days, and if it is now 6:30, that would be 30 what? 30 milli days. Oh, okay. So it's equivalent to a minute. Yes. For some reason I had forgotten all of this. Now I remember. Thank you, Felix. You're welcome. I then decided to go to a table on the other side of the room and order a meal. I spent the rest of my time eating my meal and then got up and left the officers' lounge to go and see what this new programming was on the holodeck with my number 1 officer. I exited the lounge and I headed down the hallway in the corridor to the holodeck to meet Dan for a demonstration of these new software additions to the holodeck. We see Captain Oliver Steinway standing in the hallway outside of the holodeck, looking at the control panel, which is glowing. Computer, is this functional? Am I allowed to enter? The computer answered with, yes, you may enter. Safety's all functional and allowing 10 persons or less. We see the captain enter the holodeck, seeing in front of him an office layout with only 1 person at a desk. Seems to be a woman receptionist. You may go in, Mr. Steinway. Mr. Fowler is waiting for you inside. Captain Steinway walks to a large, ornate door. Really fancy, he says. Walking in, there is Dan Fowler sitting beside a very large, impressive desk. Well, hello there, number 1. What's going on? Well, just like you, I'm trying out this new program that was entered. And so, what do you think, Captain? Very impressive, but really not my kind of thing. I would much rather be on a open tarmac, you know that, or in an open field somewhere, maybe sitting on a horse, something like that. Maybe an open road, in a car, in a truck. What do you think? Well, Captain, said Fowler, those things are available. I was just trying this on for the purpose of trying it out. That's all. Well, that's great. It's the holodeck. What can I say? Exercise as you will. I mean, yes, physical exercise. Uh, tell you what, number one, I'm gonna depart now. I've seen how it's working. I'll be back, maybe, possibly in another program. That's your prerogative, Captain. You can leave if you want to. I'm gonna stay and play around for a little bit. Carry on, number one, said Steinway, turning around and walking back. Computer, exit. The exit doors opened and the captain walked out onto the ship. The ship had actually never left. The captain turned right and walked down the corridor, noting several people in the corridor, and then he finally came to the turbolift. Entering the turbolift, he said, "Captain's quarters." The turbolift moved in what seemed to be an upward direction, by all indications. And then the car swished sideways. My communicator chimed and awakened me from sleep in my quarters. Steinway, here we go. Captain, we're within range and there is a target on the pirates. The Space Marines wanted on the bridge. However, I called security and told them not to allow them on the bridge without your permission. Over. Have security escort at least one member of the Space Marines to the captain's lounge. I'll be there shortly. Over. Affirmative. Bridge out. I hurriedly got into a fresh uniform. I tossed the other uniform across the room towards the replicator system, not caring if it made it or not, just making the effort. I glanced at the date and time as I went through my door. It was 184 metric time on stardate 7411. Also, saw that we were at condition yellow. Now on the bridge. I saw on the main viewer that our target was probably within range. I also felt the near weightless condition as we were slowing in retrograde and were currently at sub 1. I activated my magnetics in my boots, walked directly to the captain's chair and took my seat. I said, "Ops, maneuvering thrusters, keep us in line for the target. Communications, call the first officer to the bridge." I looked around at the 5 people in the room. On ops was Lieutenant Roth, I believe. Looking to the side towards where my lounge door was, I saw an officer in a yellow collar. He was changing onto a handle. That's what he was doing. He was holding onto the handle while he activated his magnetics in his boots, I suppose. In the near weightlessness, everyone was acting differently. As he fumbled for his boots, I noticed that he was not doing too well. I wanted to offer instruction. Have the Space Marine commander brought to the bridge, I said. He opened the door and the Space Marine entered, having a black uniform on. I noticed the 2 silver stripes on his collar. "Lieutenant," I said to him, "go do your thing because we have a target ahead. You need to prepare." "Roger that, sir. Moving out." said the Space Marine, kicking away from the metal-plated floor and flying across the room to the turbolift. One other thing, said the Space Marine, before he went out the turbolift door. Stop calling us Space Marines, sir, because we're Space Force for the United Federation of Planets. We operate in a team. Got it, Lieutenant, I said. Oh, one more thing, sir. I'm not a lieutenant. I'm a captain. Captain Gary Trott. On board my ship, you're Lieutenant Trott. That's an order, I said. Roger that, sir, he said, going into the turbolift. Ops, what is our ETA to the target? About 10 metric minutes. That's about 30 old Earth minutes, sir, said Roth. It's more like 20 minutes, I said, correcting him. Within 5 mics of the target, take us to red alert. Meaning 5 metric, by the way. Affirmative, sir, said Lieutenant Roth. I heard the turbolift door open and turned to look, seeing Commander Fowler entering the bridge. Welcome to the party, Dan. Right, Captain, said Fowler, moving to his seat, stumbling because of the low gravity. Maybe I should have brought my helmet along, said Fowler. Not the worst idea. It's probably going to be near weightlessness all the way. I encountered the Space Marine on the way. It looked busy, said Fowler. Oh, by the way, don't call them Space Marines. They're Space Force, I said. They're also a team. By the way, number one, the captain/lieutenant who insists on being called a captain, I told him, no, it's lieutenant on my ship. Captain, said Fowler, I understand that the Space Force use the thought communication devices that we can no longer use. I advise, sir, that you allow them to use the thought mechanisms with their own troops. You do realize they probably train their scenarios that way, and it would be detrimental to not allow that to go on. Want me to confirm it with them? Make it so, number one, I said. I watched as Dan Fowler made his way to the communications panel, and he began conversing with the Space Force team. I released the strap from my captain's chair, did a tiptoe dive toward my captain's office. I overheard Commander Fowler say, Rat Patrol. Inside my office, I went to the replicator system and said, Replicator, I want 1 coffee sweet in a weightless cup. I watched as the cup of coffee materialized, took the cup gingerly in my hand, and tested the weight. It felt light as a feather. I tested also the heat of the coffee, which could burn a person if they were not extra careful in these conditions. Computer, open the door to my office, I said as I moved to the chair at my desk and strapped in. Dan Fowler came to my office door and said the Space Force lieutenant has been notified, and Captain, they call themselves the Rat Patrol. Affirmative, number one, I said. I haven't had my morning coffee either, sir. Can I get some? Said Fowler, as he slowly floated toward my replicator. No need to ask, number one, just go get it. I watched as Fowler fumbled with the coffee in a place to hang on to. Did you forget about your magnetics in your boots, number one? I asked. Apparently so, he said, as his boots clicked to the floor. More drills on the holodeck, just playing around. Not really, actually. I heard the alarm for red alert come on. I and my first officer moved quickly to our positions on the bridge. Silence that alarm, Roth, I said. Space Force shuttlecraft has requested that we allow them out of our ship, sir, said Lieutenant Roth. Space Force Commander, this is the captain, over, I said on my communicator. Captain, this is Rat 6, over. Rat 6, go ahead. We need the doors to the shuttle bay opened. The personnel are not present. Your personnel are not present, sir. Could you do that for us? Stand by, I said. Engineering, this is the captain. Open the shuttle bay doors. Aye, aye, Captain. Shuttle bay main viewer, I said. I watched as a shuttlecraft that seemed to have more armor than ours did, and not to mention the fact that it was dark blue or black. It was maneuvering out of the bay. The Rat Patrol shuttlecraft departed our shuttle bay, and I watched as the flash of the retro rockets redirected it, and then the main engines kicked in on the craft, took it the rest of the way. "I'll stop, Lieutenant," I said. "I'll stop." "Aye, sir," said Roth. The ship came to a full stop, and we entered full weightlessness. "Rat 6, this is the captain. Over." Nothing was heard. "Rat Patrol 6, this is Saxon. Over," I said. "6, this is..." Static. "Maneuvering. Over." I watched him on the monitor as they neared the other spacecraft. I saw what looked like possibly laser fire shots from the pirate craft. There was a big flash of light, and then a tangle of some sort of grappling system was being introduced to the target. "Saxon, the target has been neutralized. Over." "Affirmative, Lieutenant. Let us know what you want us to do." "Saxon, over." "Saxon, Rat 6. Just hold, and we will make our way back to the ship. Over." "Affirmative. Rat 6, waiting here. Over." We watched as the Space Force shuttle ungrappled from the target vessel that looked to be something like a boxy cruiser with a tubular engine section sticking out the back, and at least one conning tower. It looked undamaged and dark gray. The shuttle returned to the direction of the Saxon after this. "Number 1, you have the bridge," I said, uncoupling from my chair and floating away toward the turbolift door. "Number 1 might need to have engineering to activate some droids so that we can possibly tow or capture the pirate craft in our bay. Make it so." "Aye, Captain," said Fowler. On reaching the shuttle bay, I entered the control room and watched through the glass, which was actually probably transparent aluminum. I watched as the Space Force shuttle re-entered the ship and the doors began closing. I also watched as the environmental system kicked in, and then red light blinked out and was returned with a green light, showing that the atmosphere was normalizing inside the shuttle bay. I went to the hatch to my right and opened it and entered the shuttle bay. I greeted the lieutenant as he exited his craft with the other Space Force troopers. "Did you capture anyone?" I asked. "In a manner of speaking, yes, sir. We transported a droid that they immediately tried to destroy whenever it entered their ship. Therefore, we did a site transport, and you know how that turns out with a human." "Well, yes. You beamed them out. They're no longer alive, are they?" "One of them is comatose, sir. He's rather, how would you say, a science experiment now." I used my communicator. "Sick bay, send someone to the shuttle bay. You have a comatose patient. Over." "Sick bay to shuttle bay. On the way. Over." Acknowledged. Out. "Why does Starfleet not want you guys to use the thought communication system?" asked the lieutenant. "Well, they found a fault in security," I replied. "There are ways around that," said the lieutenant. "I'm just a ship's captain," I said. "I'm not going to argue the point too much with Starfleet, no matter if I think it's a good idea or bad idea," I said. "When they say it, that's it for the moment." "Roger that," said the lieutenant with a shrug. Using my communicator once again. "Bridge, this is the captain. Over." "This is Fowler on the bridge. Over." "Number 1, you can get us back underway so that we can have our 1G back." "On it now, sir." The droids are working on the pirate ship, over. Have they indicated how long it will take, over? Stand by. I have them maneuvering, and it will take them about 5, over, as soon as we maneuver the ship. Steinway out. We could all feel the ship starting to hum as the engines took hold. A medic showed up on the scene, and we helped him position the prisoner in some sort of silver pressure suit onto the stretcher, and I let them take him the rest of the way. Our gravity returned, and we once again could walk around on the deck without using mag boots. I said to the lieutenant and the others, I will expect you to leave me a clean shuttle bay after all of this. You can count on it, sir. We'll clean it up, said the lieutenant. I went back up to the control room and exited back to the corridor. This is Captain Steinway, number 1. I'm on the way back to the bridge, over. Aye, Captain. It's about time for our shift to start, over. Yeah, on second thought, number 1, I'm diverting to the lounge. Steinway out. I was met in the lounge as I walked in by an individual in regular clothing. Are you Captain Steinway? That's me. Who are you? My name is Kirby Yates, he said, putting his hand out. Who are you and why are you on my ship? Didn't get the memo. Okay, so I'm a historian that is collecting information for history. I'm here on permission from Starfleet, or else I wouldn't be on the ship, of course, he said. First, I've heard of that. Okay. I've yet to talk extensively with I mumbled. So anyway, follow me to my table and I'll order some food, I said. I put up my hand to direct the android waiter to our table. This order will be for me, android, and this gentleman can have whatever he wants. I'll have a cup of coffee and some oatmeal and some butter toast. Put sugar in the oatmeal. That's all I want for now, I said. The android departed, and me and this Kirby Yates, I believe it was, had a seat. I understand from the weightlessness earlier that we stopped to do something. What were they doing? He asked. Yes, we were weightless for a while, I said. I also noticed some different people, some different personnel on the ship from your people. Who are those guys? He asked. You'll need to ask them, I said. My food arrived and I took a sip of coffee. Okay, Captain, said the historian. I'm aware that there was some sort of mission, possibly from the Federation Space Force, he said. Really? I said. Where did you hear that? I think it was from like a Rear Admiral, maybe Grayson. I'm not sure. I can't remember all the details at the moment. Just one moment. Let me check my notes. Well, I can tell you, Mr. Gates, that I'm not going to say anything else about it that beyond what I'm ordered to say, so I'm not looking at any orders or memos in front of me right now. I'm eating my breakfast. It took a few bites of my food and he realized that he wasn't going to get any more, so he was about to leave, I could tell. I stopped eating and hit my communicator. Mr. Boone, are you on duty? This is Captain, over. Captain, this is Boone, over. I need to see you in the officer's lounge as soon as you can get here, but it's not an emergency. On the way, Captain. Over. Steinway out. Is that about me, sir? Said Yates. Well, it's about my morning briefing for my personnel, partly, I said. I think I'll go to the bar and order something, said Mr. Yates. See ya. I said nothing else and watched the man get up and go to the bar. Soon, Lieutenant Commander Boone entered the captain's lounge and walked to my table. Have a seat, Mr. Boone. Boone eyed the man at the bar. Captain, if this is about Yates there, I'm sorry. I was short on time and I was unable to contact you before all the action went down. I would have liked to have been warned, I said. However, I suspect he's no big deal. Right? Starfleet from Admiral Grayson's office okayed his visit. He's a historian, sir. I mean, what else can I say? He's yours, Mr. Boone. Keep an eye on him. Keep him out of secure areas. Carry on as normal, but let me know if he gets out of hand. You can count on it, sir. Aye, sir, said Boone, getting up and going to the bar. After this, I finished my meal and then made my way back to the bridge. Once on the bridge, Captain on the bridge, said Fowler as I entered. I took my chair and looked left at Commander Fowler. There is a historian named Yates on board. Just wanted to warn you. He's nosing around. I have Boone on the issue. I've not yet to hear any reports from the Rat Patrol, or from sickbay, for that matter, on the prisoner and such. If you can get more details on that for me, number one. Aye, sir, said Fowler, rising and making his way to the door. Commander Green, report, I said. We're navigating to Lunar 3, as before, sir. Speed is set at 1, anticipating a retrograde. Acknowledged. I eyeballed the information on the view screen. Communications, I said. Order us up some fuel from Starfleet. Make it so. Aye. Tabitha Green in Ops said, the Phoenix is en route. We'll be here at stardate 7411.7, sir. Commander, is there any indication that they will have fuel with them? I asked. Yes, sir. They'll have fuel. There's also a memo that they will be picking up the Space Force. Thanks, Commander. Captain Steinway, this is engineering. Over. Captain Steinway, go. Sir, the commanding officer of the Space Force, he would like to try a communications device. Over. Tell him go ahead. I said over. Sir, this device is simply a switch to full duplex. He seems to think it would be a better way to conduct business. I told him, you're the captain, you decide that. Over. Multiplex, okay, yeah, go ahead and turn the switch on. See how it goes, I said. The switch is on, sir. As you noticed, we do not have to make this saying over thing anymore. It's open line. Yeah, I know what that is. So, what's the deal? I understand what full duplex is, Commander, I said, cutting him off, because I could. So, Lieutenant, Rat 6, if you're still in there in engineering, I'm aware of this, I said. I figured, sir, said the lieutenant, since we are not allowed to use the engineering or mechanical structure, the mind transfer thing, that maybe you would do better using duplex if we continue to operate. Interesting idea, Lieutenant. However, you're not to remain on board for much longer. I may stay with it, I said. Thanks for the advice and input, I said, tapping my communicator and closing the channel. I looked around and noticed Tabitha Green and Fowler, for some reason, amused by this whole thing, saying nothing. Okay, you two, stop it. Anyway, carry on. This is the end of this episode. Thanks for listening. I am Eugene, the son of Douglas. This is an original work. This is not artificial intelligence.